Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys Nation, today we're diving into a story that's been buzzing around the league and across social media. A story that's not only about a player's decision, but also about the core principles that guide this historic franchise. The news is surprising, perhaps even controversial for some, but it's rooted in a complex mix of discipline, team unity, and the unyielding standards that Coach Brian Scott and Hamer and the Cowboys set for themselves. We're talking about the recent incident involving Trevon Diggs, a key player for the team, and what it reveals about the Cowboys' culture heading into this critical stretch of the season. Now, if you've been following the Cowboys this season, you know that Trevon Diggs has been a pivotal figure in the secondary, renowned for his ball-hawking skills, his interception prowess, and his overall playmaking ability. His performances have undoubtedly contributed to some of the team's most memorable moments this year. But just when it seemed like everything was rolling smoothly, a series of events unfolded that cast a different light on the team's discipline and hierarchy. And it all began after their Christmas Day victory over the Washington Commanders. What exactly happened? Well, in a nutshell, Diggs refused to board the team's flight back home after the game, opting to stay behind in Washington, D.C., after requesting permission to do so. His request was denied, and this seemingly minor disagreement sparked a much bigger issue. The Cowboys coaching staff, led by first-year head coach Brian Scott, took swift action, ultimately releasing Diggs from the team. And this decision isn't just about one player's choice to stay behind. It speaks volumes about the team's values, their protocols, and how they handle discipline, especially during a season that is pivotal for playoff positioning. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Why would the Cowboys, a team that's been competitive all season and still has a shot at making a deep playoff run, cut a player of Diggs' caliber over something that might seem trivial, a flight protocol? Well, that's where the depth of this story comes into focus. Because the Cowboys management and coaching staff prioritize team unity, discipline, and the importance of adhering to established protocols over individual convenience. It's a classic case of the team's culture versus individual requests. And in this case, the team's culture came out on top. Let's get into the details. According to reports from the team and statements made by Coach Scott and Hamer during his Wednesday press availability, the decision was not made lightly. Scott and Hamer emphasized that the team has a strict protocol for departures and arrivals, especially during road trips. Every player is expected to follow this protocol, which includes flying together and returning as a unified group. The rationale is clear. In the NFL and in any professional sport, cohesion and discipline are critical ingredients for success, especially when facing the grind of the playoffs. What makes this incident particularly interesting is the timing. It happened just after a win, a moment that should ideally boost team morale and camaraderie, but instead it highlighted a breach of discipline that the coaching staff felt couldn't go unrest. Scott and Hamer explained that Diggs' request to stay in D was made after the game, and that he didn't approach the coaching staff until after the team had already departed for home. This timing is crucial because in the NFL the schedule is tight and every second from locker room meetings, team meetings, media sessions to bus departures is meticulously planned. Teams operate on a strict timetable and any deviation can disrupt the entire operation. The coach's stance is rooted in the business trip mentality that NFL teams uphold. It's about professionalism, accountability, and understanding that when you wear the Cowboys jersey, you represent a legacy built on discipline. Schottenheimer pointed out that other players have asked to stay in the D.C. area. And in several cases, these requests are granted if they're reasonable and communicated properly. But in Diggs' case, the refusal to follow the team's protocol resulted in a necessary disciplinary action, the release. It's a stark reminder that in the NFL, no player is above the team and rules are rules. Now, let's analyze the broader implications of this decision. For starters, it speaks volumes about the leadership style of Scott and Hamer, who's proven this season that he isn't afraid to make tough calls. Holding players accountable regardless of their star power, is a hallmark of successful teams. Think about other NFL franchises, the Patriots, for example, where discipline and adherence to team values have often been prioritized over individual desires. The Cowboys are clearly embracing this philosophy, perhaps signaling a shift towards a more disciplined team-first culture under Schottenheimer's leadership. But what does this mean for the Cowboys' defense, especially with Trevon Diggs being a key part of their secondary? Diggs has been a game-share with his ability to read the quarterback and make plays on the ball. His interceptions and coverage skills have been instrumental in several games, and losing him could impact their defensive schemes. However, it's also a test of the team's depth and resilience. The Cowboys' secondary has shown signs of improvement, and other players like Anthony Brown and the emerging rookies have stepped up when needed. Still, losing a player of Diggs' caliber isn't ideal, especially at a critical juncture in the season. Looking at the bigger picture, this incident raises questions about the team's future approach. Will other players take note of the discipline demonstrated? Will this foster a stronger sense of accountability across the roster? Or could it create tensions, especially if players feel their requests are being dismissed? These are questions that will undoubtedly be discussed among fans, analysts, and team insiders in the coming days. From a statistical perspective, Diggs' contribution to the Cowboys' defense this season has been significant. He's been targeted often in coverage, and his interceptions have directly impacted the outcomes of games. His ability to lock down receivers and create turnovers has been a key component of their defensive identity. Without him, the secondary will need to adapt and step up, which could be a challenge, but also an opportunity for other players to showcase their resilience and growth. The context of this season is also important. The Cowboys entered 2023 with high expectations, especially after a promising 2022 campaign that saw them reach the playoffs and compete strongly in the NFC. But inconsistency has crept in at times, and questions about discipline, focus, and team chemistry have lingered. Incidents like this test the team's cohesion and their ability to stay united under pressure. The Cowboys' ability to handle adversity both on and off the field could very well determine their postseason fate. Furthermore, the comparisons with other NFL teams and their disciplinary approaches are worth noting. Teams like the Patriots have long been known for their strict discipline, often sacrificing individual comfort for team success. Conversely, some franchises have been more lenient, prioritizing player relationships and flexibility. The Cowboys seem to be leaning towards a more disciplined model, which could either pay off in the long run or create friction if not managed carefully. Now, what about the upcoming games? The Cowboys still have a shot at securing a top seed in the NFC, which would mean crucial home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The next few games are going to be pivotal, and the team's ability to maintain focus and discipline will be tested. How they respond to this incident, whether they rally around their core principles or face internal strife, will be fascinating to watch. Looking ahead, fans are naturally curious about the future of Trevon Diggs. Will this be a turning point for him? Will he learn from this experience and come back stronger? Or is this a sign of a larger issue within the team dynamic? Only time will tell, but one thing's for certain. The Cowboys are a team in transition. They are trying to build a culture that balances talent with discipline. And incidents like this serve as both a warning and an opportunity for growth. As we analyze all these factors, it's impossible not to reflect on the broader themes of leadership, accountability, and tradition in the NFL. The Cowboys, being one of the league's most storied franchises, carry the weight of decades of history. Their decisions resonate beyond just the field. They influence team dynamics, fan perceptions, and even the league's culture. This event, controversial as it may be, underscores the importance of maintaining standards and the consequences of deviating from them. In conclusion, this story isn't just about a player's refusal to fly back with the team. It's about the values that the Cowboys uphold and the direction they want to take. Will this incident be a wake-up call, or will it create fissures within the locker room? As fans, we can only watch and analyze what unfolds next. But one thing is clear: the Dallas Cowboys are not just fighting for wins on the field. They're also fighting to maintain their identity and their standards of excellence. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the team made the right decision, or do you think there could have been a different approach? Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. Remember, this season isn't over yet. There's still plenty of football to be played, and the lessons learned from moments like these could very well define their postseason journey. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and deep dives into everything Cowboys related. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!